The 2023 edition of the 6 Hours of Fuji is now complete, as the WEC ticks down another round of this season. This event was pretty exciting, and there's definitely stuff to talk about. So let me break down what happened during the 6 Hours of Fuji in 2023. The 6-hour event, which is also the penultimate round of the 2023 championship, kicked off on September 10th of 2023. Leading up to the race, Kamui Kobayashi put the number 7 Toyota on pole position with a hypercar record time of a 1 minute 27.7. Mixed conditions meant that there wasn't a lot of time to qualify for the hypercar grid, but this did mean that Porsche Penske Motorsport was able to achieve a very good result in qualifying, 3rd and 4th for the two Penske cars. And qualifying was not the only session that Porsche was quick in. I'll be sure to talk more about that later in the video. In LMP2, Phil Hansen qualified on pole position for United Autosports with the number 22 car. And in GTEM, the number 33 Corvette Racing qualified just ahead of the number 85 Iron Dames car. It was a very close qualifying in LMGTEM. So with 2 formation laps done, the race was about to begin, as the 2 Toyotas led the field away. But before going into the race, I want to pause things, because there is a question that keeps coming up all over the internet, and that is, why is the Vanwall hypercar behind an LMP2 entry and not with the rest of the hypercar field? To answer this quick and fair, unfortunately the Vanwall qualified with a slower time than the LMP2 entry. The Vanwall's time was a 132.199, and the LMP2 United's was a 132.182. So the United car did qualify just ahead of the Vanwall. But we have to remember, this is a new car for Vanwall. They have never raced this circuit in the hypercar category, and it was also mixed conditions in the qualifying session, meaning that not every team was able to put in a perfect lap. If you look at the number 94 Peugeot, which was the next entry in line, they set a time that was only 0.3 faster than the LMP2 entry. And we know that 9X8 can be quick, so the time the Peugeot set doesn't indicate their exact pace. So even though this car is not as fast as the other entries, the time that was displayed, in my opinion, doesn't fully represent their pace. But anyway, let's get back to the race. While the 7 started on pole, the number 6 Porsche was actually able to overtake the Toyota into turn 1. But besides that, it was a pretty chaotic turn 1, considering how many hypercars went off the track. One incident that was triggered by the number 51 Ferrari making contact with the 99 Proton completely affected the number 5 factory Porsche's race. The previous contact unfortunately gave the number 5 Porsche a rear tire puncture. The safety car that later came out did help the number 5 crew, but unfortunately their race was still ruined because they received a 3-minute drive-through penalty due to the pit stop they performed earlier. In the GTEM field on lap 1, Lewis Paris Compact made a mistake and spun off. The GT Ferrari was ultimately beached in the gravel, but thankfully there was help from the marshals, and the Ferrari was able to get back out on track and rejoin the pack. Already in the first hour, the hypercar class was showcasing some incredible racing out on track. And this wasn't just a race where Toyota showed up and instantly dominated by leading the race from start to finish. No, they had competition. And in fact, for the majority of this race, they were not leading. That mantle went to Porsche Penske and their number 6 entry. And honestly, their pace here was quite surprising. During the first couple of rounds of the WEC, Porsche has not been super competitive compared to the likes of Toyota and Ferrari. But here at Fuji, something changed for Porsche Penske in the WEC. They had very strong pace. Considering Toyota knows this circuit inside and out, and they have dominated here at Fuji in the past, it's quite remarkable that the number 6 Porsche took the lead from Toyota at the start and led for around 4 hours. And remember, this is the first time the Porsche 963 has ever raced an event at Fuji. The incredible racing continued in hypercar, including some awesome wheel-to-wheel action between Toyota and Ferrari for what was second place at the time. The number 6 Porsche continued to grow the gap of the lead, as these two manufacturers continued some epic racing. During this race, Peugeot didn't really find the pace that they had at Monza with the 9X8 hypercar, and they were under threat from the customer Porsche 963s from Jota Sport and Proton Competition. If you ask me, Peugeot's race was a little quiet. They weren't severely off the pace and they weren't severely above the pace. They were kind of just there. Let's hope they have a better race at the 8 hours of Bahrain, where they can hopefully reclaim that consistent pace that they had at the 6 hours of Monza. The golden #1 rule in motor racing is do not hit your teammate, and unfortunately that's exactly what happened at Jota Sport, as the number 38 Porsche 963 that is racing in hypercar unfortunately tapped the back of the number 28 LMP2 Jota. Previously, DaCosta was catching up to the Ferraris and Toyotas along with the number 99 Proton Porsche, but unfortunately this incident would result in a setback for the 38 Porsche, and later they would receive a penalty for this. It's a shame this happened, considering that the number 38 car was in a fight for a potential top 5 result here at Fuji. The contact between the two Jotas was not the only incident that happened in the 6-hour event, as a collision happened involving Ben Hanley in the number 23 United Autosports LMP2 entry and JP de Oliveira in the number 4 Vanwall. It seems when the number 23 United was trying to turn into a right-hand corner, the Vanwall also was trying to make an overtake on it, and this resulted in the number 23 car unfortunately getting spun around. From what I understand, the number 4 Floyd Vanwall did receive a penalty for causing the collision with the number 23 United. Now eventually the number 6 Porsche's lead diminished, and the number 7 Toyota was able to catch up, and a very intense battle broke out between Porsche and Toyota for the race lead at Fuji. Lopez in the 7 was eagerly trying to get past the number 6 Porsche, but as we know, Kevin Estre is an incredible defender, and he was able to defend against Lopez in the Toyota right behind. Fuji is a track where there isn't a lot of overtaking opportunities. The main place to make an overtake is that long pit straight, but considering that the Porsche 963 is very fast in a straight line, there was no chance, no matter how close he got, for Lopez to make the overtake on Estre. And while these two were having an intense battle for the race lead, the number 8 Toyota, driven by Ryo Hirakawa, was slowly catching up. Because of their long-lasting battle, Lopez and Estre's tires were diminishing fast. Toyota Gazoo Racing made the switch for Hirakawa to move ahead of Lopez to try and chase down Estre in the Porsche. And on the same lap that Kevin Estre was heading into the pit lane for a mandatory pit stop, Hirakawa made the move in the number 8 Toyota for the race lead of the 6 hours of Fuji. So while the number 6 Porsche and number 7 Toyota battled to see who would come out on top in this round of pit stops, what they didn't anticipate was the number 8 Toyota coming in and taking advantage of this situation. In the pit stops, Hirakawa handed things over to Hartley, who continued to lead the race for the number 8 crew. Porsche would ultimately settle for 3rd with the number 6 car. And as for Toyota, the number 7 car would actually move ahead of the 8 later on in the race. So the 7 led the 8, making it a 1-2 for the Japanese mark at Fuji. In the final 2 hours, the Cadillac V-Series R's tire came off at turn 3. For sure a very strange occurrence, but thankfully Earl Bamber was able to get the number 2 Cadillac back to the pits for a new tire. Even though the Cadillac was not on its outlap from the pits, I still believe that the tire was not fit on properly, and that's why it flew off at the 3rd corner. Whatever happened, this hurt Cadillac's race, and eventually in the official results, they would finish 9th in the hypercar results. Some good racing was happening in GTE AM between 4 entries for first position in the final 2 hours of this event. The 33 Corvette was under pressure from the Iron Dames Porsche, the Dempsey Proton Porsche, and the number 54 AF Corsa Ferrari. Clean, well-respectful racing happened in that entire class throughout the remainder of this race, and eventually the number 54 AF Corsa Ferrari was able to overtake the 33 Corvette and get into the lead. Throughout this race, Hypercar and GTE AM were not the only categories having incredible racing. In the final few minutes, LMP2 had a strong fight going on for second position. The number 41 WRT entry was going to win the race considering the gap it had to second, but WRT was also trying to achieve a 1-2 result here at Fuji, with Robin Freins driving the number 31 car defending against the two United Autosport entries. With 30 or so minutes remaining of this 6-hour event, the number 22 United was just ahead of Robin Freins. With little space to drive, Freins decided to make a courageous send to the inside line of turn 10, successfully making the move on the number 22 United. This is arguably one of the best overtakes during the entire 6-hour event in 2023. For the remainder of this race, the battle between these two cars never stopped. And alas, even though Freins made that incredible overtake at Dunlop, he was not able to hold P2, as the United Autosport driver was able to overtake Freins on the second to last lap of the event. So once again at their home event, Toyota Gazoo Racing took victory, with the number 7 GR010 Le Mans Hypercar taking a 1-2 result with the 8 in second. The number 6 Porsche finished third, and they put up some strong competition to Toyota Gazoo Racing. It wasn't just the Japanese manufacturer dominating the whole event. Porsche had outstanding pace and consistently kept up with the GR010 Toyota. WRT and their number 41 entry took the win in LMP2, and the number 54 AF Corsa Ferrari took their first win this season in the GTE-AM class. Let's now take a look at the championship standings from after the 6 hours of Fuji. After that result, Toyota are confirmed to be the manufacturer's champions of 2023, the GR010 delivering a third championship for Toyota in a row. Ferrari sits second, and after that result in Fuji, Porsche move ahead of Cadillac into third position in the championship. In terms of the team standings in LMP2, the number 41 Team WRT is ahead with 135 points. Inter Europol are second with the 34 car, and United Autosports are third with the 22 car. Of course, Corvette has already won the team's championship in GTE-AM, but after that win at Fuji, the number 54 AF Corsa has moved into third, just a few points behind the number 85 Iron Dames, which is in second. So that concludes my race review on the 6 hours of Fuji this season. The next race will be the final race of 2023. This season has gone by fast. The 8 hours of Bahrain will take place on November 4th, so we have some time until the finale of 2023. But what did you think of the event at Fuji? Let me know all your thoughts on it down in the comments. Thanks for following along. If you want to see more endurance racing content, especially on IMSA and WEC, make sure to hit the subscribe button to the left. Also, check out one of the suggested videos I put to the right of your screen. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.